All right, so we're going to continue with our discussion of how to use the particle cloud. So quick recap. The particle cloud allows you to update firmware, receive messages, control the value of variables, and then control the device. What it doesn't let you do is store data, run analytics, or have a website. That's a different service we would have to use, okay? So we last talked in class this idea of using variables to control data. And so just as a real quick recap, right, what we did was we said, here's my variable, double F, and I simply put it in here in my setup, particle.variable, and then I give it, this is like the name you want in the app. So name in app. And then this is the variable name. Okay? Just like that. 2 parameters always. Okay? And most common variable types, int, bool, string, float, those are all valid variables. And that's it. So once it's there, we saw that, here you go. Here's your variables as they show up in the app. Okay. Accessing them from the app. Okay. You can get them on the website as well. All right. Now, what are we going to cover today? New stuff. We're going to talk about how to use functions, which is, I think, much more exciting because now we can perform actions remotely with our device. This is kind of like the big push we're getting to. So here's the idea. What we're going to do is you're going to write a function in C++ and your Argonne code, and then you're going to basically register it with the particle cloud, and that's how you can access it. You can have up to 15. So here's the 2-step process. 1, create a plain old function, okay? Do whatever you want it to do, anything you need it to do. The catch is it must return 1 parameter, and that parameter must be a string. Okay, so that's step 1. Now step 2 is you call a separate function called particle function inside of setup, and you register it, just like we registered a variable. That's it. So here's a quick example, okay? I've written a function called LED status. Maybe I want to change an LED to do something else, okay? So typically, although it's not required, I'm going to return an int. So here's my int return. And then the most important thing here is I've got my string parameter, okay? Must have 1 and must be a string. You don't have to use it if you don't want, although you probably will, but it has to be there. And then, so that's something you could have written a couple weeks ago. The new part is you simply say particle.function. And kind of the same drill as before. We say, here's the name in the app. And then here is the actual function name. And the one thing to note here is there are no parentheses. Okay? You just put the name of the function. So it just says LED status, not LED status parentheses. Okay? And that's it. That's entirely it. Now, when you want to call that function, go to your app, and you simply see, you'll see here, I'm on the console, right? Or if I'm in the app, you see this version. And all I have to do is put in whatever parameter I want to send to that function. So we just had that LED status. So if I want to send a parameter, I can say, when I type in like off, right? And then I would hit, I think there's a send button, or hit enter, and that's going to send that signal, right? So it's going to go from the cloud. So here's the cloud. And it's going to go, so basically here's your app, here's your phone. So it's going to go to the cloud, and then down to your Argonne. that's my little Argonne. Here's my LED. Okay, it's going to turn it on and off. So that's basically what's happening. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to test this out on your own. Okay, so you're going to connect an LED here. So I've got my RGB LED. Okay, so this is my RGB, common cathode RGB LED. I've got it connected here to my pins. I got my resistor set up. Now, if you have this TMP from before, right, you can go ahead and leave it because I want you to do something else with that. Obviously, that's an input device, so we can't really control it specifically, but we're going to register it as a variable. So here's the wiring, okay? And what I want you to do is connect up the LED. And I want you to create your own function called change light, okay? And I want you to change light to be able to take a couple parameters. So a couple parameters are going to be turn on the light, turn off the light would be the first step, and then I want you to be able to send a signal from the app with different colors. Let's say green or magenta or whatever color you want, right? And so what's going to happen is you're going to be able to say, okay, I'm in my app. Right? I'm going to type in green. Right? And that's going to go to the cloud. And that's going to go to the Argon. And you're going to get your LED here will be green. Okay, so it'll be we'll just imagine it's green, okay? And then I also want you to register your cloud variable, just so we can practice again with that. And you're going to then turn this all in kind of as a lab that we do in class, okay?